Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of the CDH Cast. Today, I'm going to be discussing the MLC, which is like the Major League Commander League that I'm going to be playing in for the next 8 or 10 weeks. So, I guess I should explain what it is. So, basically, it's a league where there's different conferences and different content creators are part of the conference. And to start out the event, we drafted 4 decks. And so, these 4 decks are going to be decks we have to play at least once, and then we get to play some combination of the rest multiple times. So I'm probably going to be playing 2 decks twice and each deck once. So if that kind of makes sense to the distribution over the course of like 8 or 10 weeks, I think there's like a buy in there, and I think some people play different amounts. I'm in the league. I'm not running the league. I'm not an expert on it, but I'm really excited to be playing in it. It's going to be the first CDH games I've been playing in like maybe a month or so because I've just been taking a break. So I'm really, really excited. And Callahan's been doing an amazing job running the events, so I'm just honestly super hyped. If you want to check out any gameplay or commentary about the league, Callahan's been running this amazing content on the Mind Sculptors, all about it. I definitely hope you check it out. But today I'm going to be discussing my draft picks, my strategies for my picks, why I picked my picks, why I made some mistakes, or where I admit them and where I don't admit them. So we're going to start out by looking at my first draft pick, which is a Winona Joiner of Forces. So Winona Joiner of Forces is a Boros Stacks deck, and this was my first pick. So I got some heat from Sick Robot for picking a Boros deck and a Boros Stacks deck in the first round. A little aggressive. There were other decks that I thought were pretty powerful that were maybe even better than Winona, but I have some weaknesses as a player that I thought it would be important to flesh out and, to just accept that, hey, these are my weaknesses, and I want to get some picks that can kind of play into them. So I'm not a very good stacks player ever. I don't play it very often. I play it in other formats, but not CDH. So I wanted a deck that was easy to play as far as stacks lists go. And Winona isn't necessarily super easy, but having played against Ian and just knowing Ian as a friend, I understand the lines fairly well. Additionally, I am comfortable killing people with creatures, as if you've ever seen me play Paco. So, I feel comfortable on that angle. And then it's like a 4-mana 4/4. Jeweled Lotus is pretty good with it. I can kind of mulligan for fast mana and creatures. And I've played a bit of Yuriko, and there's some Yuriko things going on with Noda. Just like playing garbage creatures that end up giving you card advantage. So I feel like this is a deck that, although it's not the best, I wanted a stacks deck, and I needed to prioritize it because the easy to play stacks decks would be the first to go. So that's why I took it. Do I regret it? No, I'll tell you later about a deck that I missed, but maybe if I'd reorganized my picks, I could have gotten a deck I kind of missed, or at least rounded out my pool a little bit better. But I'm happy I took one of it. I'm really excited to play with her in the next round. So my next pick was Corvold Food Chain, and you may be shocked to hear I got a Food Chain deck, but the logic here I think was pretty solid. I knew my Treasure Storm list would be valued fairly highly. I discussed with some other people their picks, and I knew that it was going to be taken. But Corvold Food Chain was one of a very few lists that you were actually allowed to completely redesign the deck. So if a deck was so outdated, you could actually just change the whole list instead of being forced to play it. So what that meant for me is I could just make this Food Chain deck into a Food Chain deck that is my Storm deck. So I have Food Chain, I have Mayhem Devil, I have Squee. Those are cards I really don't like playing, but 97 of the cards are literally just my Treasure Storm deck. And it may not be the best Food Chain deck, or best Corvold Food Chain deck even, but it's one I'm going to be very familiar with. And, maybe I'll kill people with Food Chain sometime and be pretty shocked. That could happen. So yeah, I think this is a pretty safe pick. Again, I got it in round 2. I was pretty late in the draft, so my first and second pick were pretty close to each other, and I just wanted something I was super familiar with, and I knew Corvold wouldn't be coming around. Now, the problem with this is that this also meant that the Grixis decks weren't really going to come back around. There were a couple decks I'd been eyeing up for the third round. The one I really wanted was a Tymna Crom Hate Bears deck that you could very easily just change 5 cards and make it less of a Hate Bears deck and more of a like mid-range deck that has like your Hull Breachers, your Aven Mind Sensors, your Opposition Agents. Those are just kind of generically good cards with Tymna. And then you still have like your breach and other things too. So that was what I wanted to do with the list. I originally thought it was outdated, but it was updated at the last minute, kind of frustratingly enough. But yeah, so someone else took it. Josh took it. Josh had a lot of really great picks throughout the night. And so I ended up with a different deck. And I ended up with Medium Bean, which is one of the best deck names in the whole competition, Medium Bean. So this is a Jaleva deck that wins the game through your typical consult stuff, but also it can bounce Jaleva infinitely to deck your opponents, and then they'll just lose on their turn during their draw step. So this is a pretty cool deck. It's a Grixis deck, which I thought was important. It was the last Grixis deck, I'm pretty sure. Grixis is so powerful in our format, and I think it's really important in this draft to get a Grixis deck. My 5 picks made the deck a little bit more generic Grixis good stuff. I took out one of the combo kills with Jaleva, added some more just generically powerful cards with my 5 cards I get to change. And I'm pretty happy with Jaleva. I think she's a little underrated, and obviously I'd prefer to have the Jaleva Turbo Nas deck just because I think that deck's a little bit better, but this is going to be quite strong, and I think I'm definitely going to win some games. My last pick is Zender Split Eye of Wisdom, which is a partner with Okun, Eye of Chaos. But the important thing here is Zender Split is a blue-red combo deck that's also a breach deck. I really wanted a blue-red breach deck. I thought that would be really important for the event. I had basically 2 other breach decks, but I wanted I felt in the 4th round if I could get like a really low-color breach deck, that'd be good. Like I think that is a solid pick. Pick Zender Split over a couple other better decks for 2 reasons. I've always wanted to play this deck. I think it's really sick. It was part of the decklist database reviewers test that we had to take to get accepted, and I saw the deck and I fell in love. Second, I think it's going to be underrated. People are going to think it's a meme, and I think those are pretty good. And there's actually a third reason, which is reasonable. I think it's a 5-mana commander that draws cards, and that's my favorite thing. If you can get a Zender Split out with a Mana Crypt, you're probably going to draw a card every turn. If you get your other commander out, Okun also says flip coins, and there's actually a chance you draw just a ton of cards. You might draw no cards, which will really suck, but Okun actually does put pressure on your opponents. If you flip 2 coins and you win the flip, you're going to draw 2 cards. And, well, if you win 2 flips and then lose a flip, you're going to draw 2 cards, and then you're going to have a 12-12, which is kind of insane. That 12-12 is going to put a lot of pressure onto people. And with Okun and Zender Split, that's not a very unreasonable thing to happen. So I thought in having a low-color breach deck would be important. I also like that they put pressure on my opponents, and I like that they're card manage engines. And they're easy to cast off with Jeweled Lotus, which is one of the best cards in the format. It's actually a card that blue-red can tutor for pretty easily, so it's not unlikely that I will just tutor up a Jeweled Lotus on turn 2, and then turn 3 play my Zender Split, turn 4 draw a card. That kind of game plan. Mana Crypt's also a good tutor because it is a draw engine in the deck because it says flip a coin. If you win the flip, you draw a card. So it's a really, I think this is a really interesting deck, and I think I added Kark to it, so there's a chance of just storming off like crazy. Kark actually has a really interesting interaction with Breach where the cards will go back to your hand, so that's kind of neat. I will say this, I had one big regret about this deck list. It's not on the cantrips because I don't know why, but it's not on the cantrips, it's not in Gildrake. There's just a few blue-red staples that are not in the deck that I think are certainly missing. So hopefully that will, hopefully my slots were useful in kind of cleaning that up. Maybe they just weren't supposed to be there. I honestly haven't played with the deck before, but it felt wrong to not be on, Ponder and Preordain and like this kind of deck. I just want to draw cards. So, and I don't know if I explained it yet, but there's a 1-card combo in the deck where it's a Frenetic Efreet. It's a 3-mana 2/2. It just says like pay 0, flip a coin. So you just flip a million coins, draw your whole deck. You have to stop the coin flipping because you'll die if you don't have a bounce spell for your Zndrsplt, which is why you're on some free bounce spells, or you can just try to get really lucky if you don't have any free bounce spells left in your deck. But yeah, so it's a pretty sweet deck, and it is definitely going to be really fun. And I don't tell anyone, but this is the deck I'm planning on playing in the first week, just to start out with a whole bunch of fun. So those are my 4 decks I'm playing for the Major League Commander League. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope I was able to help you get some insight into why I made some of the picks I did. And wish me good luck. I hope I can kill some people with a coin flip deck. So have a good one. See ya. Bye.